Hi, I'm Jack Godfrey of Southdale Wellness. A while ago, a friend of mine asked me how she can continue her Tai Chi practice because she's suffering from plantar fasciitis. And I told her that, I've had the same issues in the past. I've suffered from plantar fasciitis. I've also injured my knee, and I've had sciatic pain in my hip, all of which were made practicing Qigong and Tai Chi very painful. Not something you'd want to do. But there is a solution for this, and that is use a chair. And we're going to look into how to pick the chair, how to sit in the chair, and how to move in the chair as part of this video. And then we'll have some examples from Qigong and Tai Chi as well. So let's get started. So you can't stand because it hurts, but you want to continue with your Tai Chi and your Qigong practice. So how do we go about it? Well, we have a choice here. We have a chair, but you got to pick the right chair. And so I have here the one that I use at home when I'm suffering from those various ailments in the past. And it's a nice wooden chair with the legs underneath the front and the back, and tiny little arms on the side to give me a little bit of support. But also you could use a folding metal chair, or you could use a stool, whatever's available. But I find the chair gives me a good support as well. And so let's have a look at how to pick the right chair. So wooden, metal, a stool, we already talked about that bit. The next thing is, as you can tell from this one, there's no padding and there's no springs. You want something that's going to provide you with a solid foundation, and that's not going to move and perhaps throw your balance off a little bit. It also works best, because we're moving our arms around a whole lot, that there's no arms on this chair to get in the way of you moving your body from side to side. And it's got to be the proper height. You don't want to be sitting on a chair or a stool that's way up high and your toes are just barely touching the floor. So let's look at next how to sit in the chair. And this will tell you whether you've got it in the proper height or not. So I'm going to sit on it a bit to the side here so you can see a front view and a side view as well. So what you want to do, I'm going to turn to the side here. So you want to sit like this in the chair. You want to have the feet flat to the floor. You want to have the ankles under the knees. So you want to have the thighs more or less vertical as well. Thighs. You want to have the shins more or less vertical. I know my anatomy. It's just I screw up from time to time. The thighs, these guys, parallel to the floor. You also want to have, you don't want to be sitting like this. You want to be sitting up nice and tall. So you want to lift the ribs, make sure the hips are straight up and down, and the torso is coming straight out of the hips. And now, without the arms, I can move my arms, I can turn my body from side to side. So let's have a look at it from the front here. So, feet under the knees and the hips about the same height. Lift the ribs so we're nice and tall. The feet are flat to the floor. So that's pretty well, how to sit in the chair. Now, we got to move from side to side, forward and back, and so on. So if we're going to be moving from side to side, which we do a whole lot in Tai Chi and in Qigong as well, you start with, and I'm going to move that way, you start with pressing the toes to the earth. Shift the weight to this hip. So in other words, we lift this hip a tiny amount and the weight comes over here. We turn the torso, and we're looking off into the distance that way. And then something interesting happens with the arms. And then we want to go to the opposite side. So you push with the toe, shift the weight to this hip, turn the torso, and we look to the side over here. So now we're going to tie all this together by doing a very basic movement here, and it's a Qigong movement called Red Dragon Plays with the Ball. That's one of the names it's known by. So we come over here, so put the weight on this hip, turn the torso slightly, And we're holding a ball here. So the leg that has the weight, that arm's on top. The other hand's underneath, so we're holding the ball. Now, push with this toe, let the ball come down, shift the weight to this hip, turn the torso, and we let the ball rise up. Now push with this toe, the weight shifts to the other hip, the torso turns, the gaze turns, and the ball rises up as well. So you push with the toe, the weight shifts into the other hip, and the torso turns, and the ball rises up. So that's Red Dragon plays with the ball. Now, let's look at one more here, which is more or less a straight ahead movement. So, standing on a boat. So here, put the weight in the toes, take the weight off the heels, lift the ribs, lift the chin, let the arms drift up. And then exhale. Let the weight drop into the heels, drop the ribs, drop the chin, round the back. So inhaling, press the toes, lift the ribs. Exhale, press the heels, lower the ribs. Now let's have a look from the side for this guy here. So we're here like so, standing on a boat. So press the toes into the earth, take the weight off the heels, lift the ribs, let the arms drift up. Now drop the heels to the earth, drop the ribs, round the back, we lower down. So, and then you add the breath to this, of course, inhaling, and then exhale. All right, so now, so that's a couple Qigong movements. Now we're going to look at some Tai Chi movements. So the first one we're going to look at is shearing the horse's mane. And so for this guy, we put the weight in this leg, the weight's on this hip, and we're holding the ball here to the side. And now what we're going to do is we're going to push with the foot, shift the weight to the other hip, turn the torso slightly, this hand comes down to the hip, this hand rises up to the ears of the horse, and we're looking through the ears of the horse into the distance. And now all the weight's on this hip, so we hold the ball on this side. Push with the toes, shift the weight, turn the torso, the hand comes down, the other hand comes up, and we look into the distance. So all the weight's on this hip. We hold the ball. Push with the toe, let the hips turn, let the torso turn, and the hands come up, and we're here. So that was shear the horse's mane. So we went from side to side. The next one we're going to look at is brush knee. So for this guy, we're going to start on this side. So put the weight on this hip. Bring the hand up by the ear. Bring the hand up by the elbow. Now lean forward slightly. Push with this toe, this guy. We're going to shift the weight as the hands move and the torso turns. We come over here and we brush knee on this side. So this hip has the weight. Push with the toe, shift the weight, brush the knee, push the ball. And we'll do it once again. And so here we go. Brush past the knee, press the ball, come up to the ear, come up to the hip, to the elbow. Anyway, so that was brush knee. The last one we're going to look at here is gather fish and right heel, left heel, right heel kick. So for this guy, we have this movement here. So we gather fish from the barrel. So we lift this leg up. We lean back, bring the hands here. And now we do a left heel kick, like so. We come back and we put everything down. Now we're going to do a right heel kick. So gather fish from the barrel, lift the knee, lift the toes, and we kick, like so. And we'll do once more on each side. So inhale, we gather fish. Exhale, we kick. Inhale, we, inhale, we gather fish. We lift and we kick. So there you go, a few examples from Qigong, from Tai Chi, about how we can do both of those sitting down while we are recovering from an injury, sciatica pain, an injured knee, plantar fasciitis, whatever. So you don't have to give up your practice. You just have to modify it and do what you can with what's available in your body. Always respect the limitations that your body is bringing to the practice. And that's it for today.